So good evening and welcome to our breakout session on Grassroots Mobilization, Tactics That Work with Lauren May. My name is Kanan Stevens and I'm a co-founder of the Liberation of Education. I'm so pleased to be with you all tonight and introduce our esteemed speaker, Lauren May. Lauren is the Director of Advocacy at Step Up for Students. She's a collaborative educational advocate with a proven track record of improving educational and operational performance through vision, staff leadership, and development, and by building community partnerships and family connections. A former teacher, early childhood director, and principal, she was honored with the University of Florida's Outstanding Young Alumni Award in 2019. She lives in Jacksonville, Florida with her husband and 2 children. So without further ado, please join me in warmly welcoming Lauren May.
Hi, everybody. I am trying to share my screen, so let me see if I can figure it out real quick.
So Lacey said, when you click on share screen, try clicking share tab instead of share entire screen.
Okay, tab. There it
Share
is.
tab. Maybe that'll help it.
That's looking like it's wanting me to share something online. Let me see. I'll just try this. If this doesn't work, I'll just
click through it.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, yeah.
I'm not sure what you can see. Okay. And I can't see you or anything else. So I'll just start. Okay. And if anybody has a question, you'll have to just let me know, I suppose.
Okay. Yeah, I'll keep track of questions in the chat and then let you know.
Okay, thank you so much. And thank you for the introduction. I'm so excited to be here this evening. My name is Lauren May, as she mentioned, and I work at Step Up for Students as the Director of Advocacy. And I was so excited to follow Virginia Walden Ford's speech because, excited and intimidated because obviously she's amazing. But I think that the information I'm going to share with you guys about the work we've done in Florida and how you can do that in your state or in your area will be very helpful. So let's get started. Just so you know, this presentation is normally an hour, so I'm going to do my best to bring it down to 25 minutes, and we'll see how we do. But we are going to present again. I'm doing a presentation after this one, so if we run out of time, we'll just finish up in the next session. So with education choice, I get to control the narrative, and that's what one of our parents, Brandy Evans, said to lawmakers. And that is such a great way to start this presentation because that's what we do. That's what I do as the Director of Advocacy at Step Up for Students is we give our parents a voice and a way to speak to lawmakers, to speak to community members, and to talk about how school choice has affected them and why. So in Florida, I wanted to share a couple of the key things that we've done to shape educational options. So in 2010, one of our really big wins was that 2/3 of the legislature's Black Caucus voted to expand the tax credit scholarship, ensuring that it would become the nation's largest private school choice scholarship. And last year, Step Up for Students, which is one of 2 scholarship funding organizations in Florida, raised over $600 million to provide 100,000 Florida tax credit scholarships to families in Florida so they could choose the school that best fits the needs of their child. And then another big win that we had, thanks to our grassroots mobilization, was in 2014, the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship was threatened by several lawsuits. And we had more than 100 Black ministers in Florida join a coalition that formally condemned that lawsuit. And then 2 years later, when the lawsuit was still going on, more than 10,000 people rallied against the lawsuit at the state capitol. And the event was headlined by Martin Luther King Jr. III. So it's really exciting. Those are some of our big wins. Some other things that we've done with our work in advocacy is everything that we do, we focus and center around our parents. And you probably will recognize a few of the faces on this slide. This is some of the 10,000 people that came to our rally in Tallahassee in 2016. And you might notice our matching shirts. And so when Miss Virginia was just speaking about their matching shirts, we followed suit here in Florida, and we have shirts as well that our parents wear at all of our events because it's really easy to be remembered. And so speaking about tactics that work, when you're thinking of how are you going to form a coalition and get your voice heard in your community, Matching shirts may seem like really a little bit silly, but it really does work. We have had the PTA has been one of the groups that was really against our scholarship program, but when they saw our rally and they realized how many parents truly do need and want a choice for their children, they dropped out of the lawsuit. A few other groups dropped out of the lawsuit, and then it was dismissed, which was a really, really big win for us. In 2018, we had over 15,000 families on the Florida tax credit scholarship waitlist. So you might remember I told you that we raise enough money to award about 100,000 scholarships, which is amazing, and it's more than any other state. However, we still had 15,000 families that were on the wait list, and we had reached the kind of the limit of donations available in Florida for the tax credit from corporations. And so that was a really big problem. So we brought our parents out and they began speaking to lawmakers. They spoke to the governor. And then in 2019, the Family Empowerment Scholarship was signed into law, which eliminated that wait list. And then in 2020, we had the Gardner Scholarship, and that had a very large wait list of about 2,000 families. And so we needed the legislature to give us an additional about a little bit more than $40 million in order to eliminate that wait list. And so we had a rally in Tallahassee, and thanks to that rally, they gave us that money so that the wait list could be eliminated. So I'm going to talk to you today about some ways and that we made all of this happen. And it really has nothing to do with Step Up for Students, and it has everything to do with our parents. So our parents work really hard to get their voices heard. So they make phone calls, they attend committee meetings, legislative meetings, they go to district meetings, they go to school board meetings, they make blog comments. So sometimes if an opponent will write a blog piece that is detrimental to us or against school choice or against the program, we'll have our parents go on and make comments and talk about how the scholarship has positively affected their life and changed their child's life. We have our parents speak with newspaper reporters. They write letters to editors and op-eds. They go on social media and talk about the scholarship, and they make comments on social media too, because now almost everything has gone social. So if you see an article in the paper, most people don't read the hard paper anymore, but they read it online or they read it on Facebook. So we always want to make sure we have our parents making positive comments, really heartfelt comments about how the scholarship has affected them and their child. And then we also have meetings across the state with lawmakers where parents share their story. And we have our parents send emails as well. So I'm going to show you a couple pictures. One of the best tactics that work are visits with lawmakers. And so this is a visit with Representative Tracy Davis, who is from Jacksonville. And she's a Democratic lawmaker who who actually has a very vast background in special education. And she has never actually voted in favor of our bill, but she loves hearing from our parents. She loves visiting our schools. She's been to several of our schools with our parents and with our school leaders to see what's going on. And that is very important, because the more times that a lawmaker is hearing from their constituents about how a program is affecting them and their lives, the better chance you have that it's going to sway their vote. So that's definitely a tactic you can employ in whatever section of the work you're in, whether it be in your district, if you're trying to build a charter school, or if it's in your state, or if it's in your city, or if it's in the nation. Visiting with lawmakers and having families share their story. So if you're in a state where you don't have school choice yet and you really want it, you're going to want to bring families who are in public school and are struggling and talk about what would a choice give them if they had one? So that's really important to think about. Other things that we do is we have our parents speak before lawmakers. So they come to delegation meetings. They go to they testify in committee hearings where they're talking about school choice. And so the picture here on the left is very near and dear to my heart, because that's Representative Anna Escamani, and she has not been a fan of school choice or of the Step Up scholarship program since she's been in office. But this parent here spoke about how the scholarship has affected her daughter, and she lives in Representative Escamani's district. And you notice, look how happy she is to be with that parent and to know that one of her constituents came all the way to Tallahassee to share her story. So that's really important. And then here you see Senator Manny Diaz and with some of his constituents who came to talk about the scholarship program at one of the committee meetings. And then you see a picture of one of our parents testifying in the committee meeting. So that's important. You want to make sure that you find out which committee meetings you need to be at, and you go and you bring parents and you have them share their stories. So this slide is about how it's important for principals and parents to respond to opponents. So on the left is a photo of an article that was in the Gainesville Sun that was against our program. And it said that basically she was saying that we should not give money to parents so that they can choose where their child is educated. The money should go to public schools and give teachers raises. And so one of our principals in Gainesville, Jason Acosta, wrote a response to her article about how the kids in his school who are on scholarship, their lives are being changed. And it was very, very powerful. And we actually heard from the representative in Gainesville. He reached out to Jason Acosta and said, your article really touched me. Can I come visit your school and see some of your students and how your students are learning? And that's really, really powerful and important. So I just wanted to share that because that's something that you guys need to be doing as well in your area, and with whatever is getting in the media in whatever way you can, whether it be responding to opponents or just submitting letters to the editor or op-eds. They're really, really important to get your word out. And I did email someone, Kanan, the links to these articles. I don't know if you have them, but I can put them in the chat after this if no one has them, because I can't see anything except my screen right now. So, and another thing that we do is we share positive stories. So we have our parents talk about how the scholarship has changed their life. And this is one of our parents from Orlando who's really, really amazing. And she is a garbage truck driver in Orlando. And her 3 boys were really struggling in their local public school. But she said, like, I'm going to do everything. So she was doing extra shifts. She was working so hard to ensure that her boys could stay in the private school where they were thriving. And she applied for the scholarship and went onto a wait list. So her story, when we shared it, really, really touched lawmakers. And I actually have, she came to, when the governor signed the bill that ended the wait list and she was able to get the scholarship, I have her testimony at that bill signing to share with you at the next session. So if you come to that, you'll get to see it. But me talking is really not important. I want you to hear from one of our parents. So right now I'm going to show you a quick video that I think will kind of give you an idea of why it's so important for us to have our parents speak for us and not have us speak about it. It's coming from the parents' heart is what matters.
My name is Rose. I'm Heaven's mom. Well, originally I always wanted her to go to private school, but I was like, it's going to be very expensive for her to go to private school. So I'm like, let me start looking at a few little public schools and see what she can get in there, because I can't afford private school. And when I tell you, that was a good thing, because she got in, I applied for it, and I was so excited that she was able to attend a private school, because I know I didn't have the money financially.
My name is Heaven White. I am in 5th grade and I go to Guardian Catholic School. I enjoy going to Guardian because I've been there since kindergarten, so I'm used to all the rules and the expectations that we need to meet. But it was very different to be online.
It was scary, knowing about all the stuff that was coming out with the pandemic and the coronavirus, because Heaven, she suffers with asthma. And I know asthma is a big symptom that, kind of makes the coronavirus a little bit more dangerous.
I was scared to get COVID. I was scared that we were going in a pandemic. I couldn't see my friends. We just had to stay home. until my mom, she got it, so she had to be in her room 24/7. And so I couldn't see her that much. Like, I could see her, but I couldn't be in the same room with her.
But it's something we haven't experienced before. We never did online learning at all. So I did think that she may slack off or won't pay attention like she should when she's in the actual classroom. But she pulled it off. She's up on time. She's on that computer, paying attention. Don't miss days. Back in class after lunch. So she's been doing really good.
Heaven has just acclimated herself so excellently to this distance learning. She's on at 8 o'clock in the morning. She has her uniform on. She participates through chat or questions. And I just a model student in this pandemic and very difficult and challenging time.
I just appreciate the scholarship. Evan was able to get into a private school with a scholarship because I had no idea before that she would be able to go to a private school on a scholarship, at that. So, and I'm proud of her.
I would like to say thank you so much, because without you, I wouldn't be here. Without the people who supported me, I would not be in this position right now. So I'm very grateful for that, and I've worked so hard. And to get here, it means a lot to me.
So I hope you agree with me that they speak much better than I do about the scholarship and why it's important. So hopefully that was useful for you guys to watch. Okay, let me see if I can share.
My name is...
Okay, let's see here. So now I have just a couple more minutes, and I'm going to actually focus on the tactics that work and what you can use to train your audience on the mission. So one of the things that's very unique about what we've done in Florida is that we always support a parent's right to choose the best educational option for their child, regardless of what that choice is. And so what you see in a lot of states is that you'll have your charter school advocates pushing for charter schools. You'll have your private school / voucher people pushing for that. You'll have your tax credit people pushing for that. What we do here that I think makes us really special and unique is that we are one. We want every child to find the school that best fits their needs, to find the environment that best fits their need, whether it be a virtual program, homeschooling, district-run school, private school. And so I think that makes Florida very unique, and that's something that I hope other states will really try to do as well. Choose your words carefully. So one of the things that we do with our parents is we help them really focus on their story and on themselves. So when they're talking about education choice and why it's important for them, they talk about shared values. So many of our parents pick their school because they are going to share the values that they teach at home. It might be a Jewish school or a Christian school. It might be a non-denominational school. But that's one of the big reasons that they choose their school. They choose it because it has a peaceful setting, because it's safe. Safety is the other big reason that our parents choose to go to private school as opposed to their district school. We have really high graduation rates. That going to the school of your choice contributes to the public good, and the students that are at these schools are doing that. It's breaking the cycle of generational poverty. So these are some of the key terms that our parents in the past have used, and so we kind of give our parents, when we're training them about what to say and how to say it, we give them some of these examples. We help them learn to focus and speak from the heart. So we always tell them, you want to talk about your child or your students if it's a school leader. Why does your school work for your kids? How have your children improved since switching schools? Talking about the teachers there in the schools and who care about the children and why their family needs a choice. Any personal stories. So sometimes you might have a parent that really struggled in a public district school or maybe didn't graduate, but they found out about our scholarship program and their kid is the valedictorian. So we think we always try to help them focus on words that are going to be positive, but also resound with our lawmakers or stakeholders or whoever's listening. So sometimes we will hear from our opponents or even from lawmakers at times that private school choice has no accountability. And we want our parents to be prepared for that, because when you're testifying at a committee meeting or a delegation meeting, you could get asked a question at any time. So we always prep them and we say, we believe parents should be able to choose where their kids go to school, and that keeps the schools accountable. Children using scholarships and those in charters are tested annually and show gains. So we give them some answers in case someone were to say, for example, why are you going to a private school that's not accredited and doesn't have certified teachers? Well, because I want that school, because my children are thriving in the school that we choose, and they're thriving there because I got to choose it. I know my child best. Another pushback, like something that someone might say is, oh, well, the program's growing too fast, so why should I support it? And we tell our parents, that's fine. They can ask you that. And it's true that we are growing very rapidly here in Florida, but ask them to talk to the hundreds of thousands of kids in need. Which one are they going to say no to? And then one of our big pushback terms that we hear is that the program drains money from public schools or drains money from district-run schools. And so we talk about how funding does not belong to the system, and it should not just go into the system. It belongs to the kids who have parents, and the funding should follow the child. And so we think that funding should be equal. Students are students, and all schools serve the public good. So those are just some things that as you're working, you might want to think, what are your opponents going to say? What would be some questions that people might ask your advocates? And then how can you help train them to have good answers and be prepared in case they get cornered with a question? Other tactics that work. So we always encourage our parents to include a request for action and be specific. So for example, when Sharika Wright, the garbage truck driver from Orlando, was talking to Governor DeSantis, we told her, we said, you've got to tell him, you have to eliminate the wait list, Governor. I need my boys to have a scholarship so I don't have to keep working 60 hours a week doing overtime. We always want to say thank you for your time. Declare yourself as a voter. That's important for our lawmakers, especially, to know that you're one of their constituents. And we always say, if you believe this, like we do, you could say this is the social justice issue of our time, to ensure that equal educational opportunities are there for everyone. And then that's really what we leave them with. And it's really, really been successful with helping our parents do a really, really good job when they're testifying or speaking with lawmakers. So this is some information. If you have questions about Step Up for Students, our information is there. Or if you have questions for me, my information is there. So I think what I'm going to do now, it looks like we have like 6 more minutes, is I will unshare my screen. And then if anyone has any questions, or I can look in the chat and see if anyone has any questions or anything. So I'm going to unshare my screen, and thank you guys for being here. I hope this was helpful. And I am speaking again at 7:15, where we're actually going to work together about, I'm going to help you guys share your story. And I'm going to show you some more videos of parents sharing their stories. Okay, let's see. I have to figure out how to get back to the screen. Okay. Well, there you guys are, I think. Are you still there? Hi.
Hey, yeah, we're still here.
Okay, hi.
So I shared all those links that you had sent, so those are there.
Okay.
And scrolling down to see questions. I did have a question. Do people ever ask you about funding for homeschooling or co-ops or those sorts of things? Could you
Yes,
address that?
we get asked that all the time, actually. It's a really big thing, especially since the pandemic. And so we Step Up for Students has a scholarship that can be used for homeschooling if your child has a unique ability. So there's about 17 disabilities that are covered in Florida. And so we work with homeschool families for that scholarship a lot. But what happened with the pandemic is people said, well, my child doesn't have a disability, but I found that homeschooling is best for them. Can you help me? And so we're working on that. That's a goal of ours, to find ways to really support every family, because we believe that you should be able to choose where your child goes to school, and the money should follow your child. It shouldn't just go into a system.
I love that. That's amazing. What do you see as kind of the future for Step Up for Children?
Well, we are the future. Goodness, we are hopeful to continue to our work in Florida and help as many families as we can have choice. And so we're just about to open our application season for this year. So we're really excited about that, to see more families get the opportunity to send their child to either a private school or to homeschool using scholarship dollars. And so really that's our work right now. And we are super excited to have a really supportive governor here who hopefully will continue to support our work, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we just want to continue to grow and make more and more families eligible. One of the great things that happened this year is there was a bill for law enforcement officers. And so now all law enforcement officers are eligible for our scholarship regardless of their income. And they're also eligible for the disability scholarship without the cap. So that means they could be awarded even if we have a wait list. So that's a really big deal. So every year we try to make more families eligible so that they could have choice.
And that's for law enforcement officers' children, correct?
Yes. Yep. Dependents of law enforcement officers. And last year, one of our big wins was that dependents of military members also are part of that. So that was a big deal last year.
Lacey's asking, what do you think the most impactful thing organizations and individuals can do to move us quickly to funding the child and not the system?
So that's a really good question. So personally, I think that there is strength in numbers. So coming together in big, large groups is important, and making sure that your families and your everybody, and also another really important thing that I think is important is staying on message. So making sure that you have a message. So at Step Up, we work with about 20 partner organizations who are in all different types of educational choice. We work with charter school organizations. We work with the Foundation for Florida's Future. We work with all these different groups. And that's something we just had a meeting about today is, are we all on this? Are we saying the same thing? And so that's important, is helping to know, what is your message? Who are you trying to reach? And how are you going to reach them? And then finding parents who can share their stories is just going to be really important.
That's awesome. How many families would you estimate? And you might have said this, I might have missed it, that y'all have helped here, at least here in Florida.
Yeah, well, we just celebrated in October. We have given over 1 million students scholarships in Florida. So that's a really big deal. And we are hoping to have a million more in the next 5 years. So in 20 years, we gave 1 million because it was in the beginning very slow and slow growing. And now we have a very exciting growth path, and we're hoping that we can serve another million very soon. So that's our goal, is to just serve as many students as we can. Whoever wants a choice should have a choice. That's what we believe. And so what I do is I'm on the ground working with families and making sure that they know about all the options they have, because many people in Florida don't even know that you could send your child to a private school if you wanted to. Just like Miss Virginia was talking about in Washington, D.C. It's almost unbelievable. You're like, wow, I can't believe this. The state will actually give me money to send my child to a private school. Yes, they will, and they should. So
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I know you've got 9 seconds. You've got to get to, or no, I think we're coming up on a break. You've got a little bit before you
okay,
next.
yeah, I'm not even sure. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope this was helpful, and maybe I'll see you at 7:30 or whatever the next time is.
Yeah. So Lauren's next breakout, you guys be sure and jump on that. It's going to be awesome. She's going to give you some more strategies. So it'll be great. Thank you so much,
Bye.
Lauren.